Good morning, family and friends. My name is Dr. Olusegun Oshinaye. I'm here to introduce to you my latest book, Neighborhood Transformation. It's a book on African immigration experience here in the US specifically. But if you're an African immigrant in any part of the world, I can assure you that this book will also be of immense value to you. Why did I write this book? I wrote this book specifically because of the experience I had in 2017 when the former president, President Trump, came into power, and then he rolled out some really anti-immigrant policies at that time. And when those policies were put out, it really became a kind of a wake-up call for me personally, because it does shows me how difficult life can be as an immigrant. And having just moved to the US a year before that time, it became a very area of concern for me, and therefore because of that I decided to do some research on how Africans, particularly African immigrants, can be supported emotionally, how they can be supported navigating their way through the system, how they can support their children's education, how they can have access to medical support, and how they can even access legal support as well. And to the glory of God, through my interaction with people who are in some of those difficult situations, we've been able to help a few of them. So that is the reason why I wrote this book. It is because of that experience, and I know that as African immigrants, this book will be of immense value to you. So who should read this book? Of course, since the book is specifically written for African immigrants, every African immigrant will benefit immensely from this book. And not only for African immigrants, if you are a scholar, a pastor, if you are an entrepreneur who wants to mobilize if you are even a politician who wants to mobilize the diaspora for a great work in Africa, this book will be of immense value to you. So that is the reason why I believe you will benefit from the book. My special contribution to knowledge is that when I began to do the research on this book, I looked into the library, and I was so surprised to discover that there was non-availability of book that specifically relates to African immigration experience in North America. You can find books on Asian immigration experience. You can find books on Central Americans experience. You can find books on South American immigration experience, but you cannot find a book that is specifically written for Africans and by Africans. The only book that I specifically could come across was written by a sociologist. That was a Ghanaian sociologist. That was probably the only book I was able to lay my hands upon that specifically relates to African immigrants. But this is written from the perspective of whether it is the will of God or not the will of God, like we currently have the debate being debated upon in Nigeria, that whether it is the will of God for you to japa or the will of God for you not to japa. But I want to let you know that emigrating or migrating from one place to the other has always been part of human evolution. our forefathers, there is no man that has remained on the same spot right from the time of creation. There is no man that has remained on the same spot, that has not migrated from one place or the other. So if anybody tells you it is not the will of God for you to migrate, they don't really know history, and they are not checking history. Even our master, our savior Jesus, he also migrated when the condition in his home country was not that very conducive for him and his parents. So migration has always been part of human existence. So where can you get this book? You can get this book on Amazon.com. If you want a Kindle version of it, it goes for $9.99. If you want a paperback version like the one I'm holding, it goes for $20. If you want to go for the hardcover, that goes for $35. You can also find the book on Ingram. You can find it on the website of the publisher. That is WIPF and Stock Publishers. You can find it on their websites. And then if you go to major bookstores like Barnes and Nobles and all other major bookstores all over the world, you can definitely find it. And if you live in a country where there is Amazon.com, you can always access the book on Amazon. I'm quite sure that this book will liberate you, because it's a book that talks about how immigrants can be supported, and not only just supporting immigrants, and how immigrants, the diaspora, can be liberated and mobilized to give back to the African society. God bless you.